I've always tried to adhere to this, as it's all too easy to criticise something when you haven't done any of the work. But after nearly 10 years of Codemasters F1 games, I will starve no longer. Let's start with a simple one. Let's say you just want to load the game and get straight into some races. Well, you can't. Because at 7 PM on a Friday night, there's only 45 people queuing ranked. This is mostly due to the fact they killed the player base by disabling the ability to invite friends to ranked games, as if that was the cause for the poor quality racing. To be fair, once you get above a C safety rating, the racing is actually pretty fair and clean. But it's impossible to stay above a C safety rating because of bullshit track limit penalties. Come off it. But never mind, because since the removal of invites in ranked, most players spend their time in unranked games. But if you do decide to participate in the hellish experience that is an unranked 5-lap lobby, you'll be killed instantly. And if by some miracle you do make it past turn 1, you'll be haunted by the idiotic ghosting system. This system works great when someone is off the track, but the second they rejoin, they're instantly unghosted, despite the fact they're now sat on the racing line doing 4 miles an hour. And if you manage to escape that peril, you'll face the lagger. The game is never quite sure where this goes at any given moment, so expect to see an apparition more elusive than Alonso's third world title. So you decide to take a break from the chaos and work on some setups. Big mistake. You see, the game tracks your tyre wear during the stint, providing you a handy readout to view somehow while you're driving. And on returning to the pitch, you're not given a breakdown of that same data, you're given a single percentage, presumably an average of all the tyres, which is completely unhelpful when it comes to adjusting the setup. Like, am I wearing the rears more than the fronts? Who knows, right? just 13%, whatever. It's not like this sport is driven by data. Don't get me started on tyre temperatures. So then you give up and decide to Google some setups instead. But they just be like,
suspension geometry all the way to the right, all the way to the left.
Great. Also, our league glitched out, so the German Grand Prix has been in progress now for 3 months. 60 quid this. And the game just gives me an error message if I try to access it. Which is probably for the best, because the lack of tools you receive as a league admin is comical. Not to mention that if you set your league to open, it will get flooded with Achievo hunters who don't actually want to participate in any racing. But let's say you can access your league and you want to get some practice in before the next race. Well, you're out of luck, because there's no way to select the multiplayer car in time trial, which means you have to host your own unranked game, select the multiplayer car, and then be forced to complete an in and out lap every single time because there isn't a return to garage option. As for career mode, that's just for people who can't hack competition. But to justify the £60 price tag this year, they've added cosmetics. For the first time ever, you can customise your character. All the race suits are hideously plain, and it's not like the premium versions are any better. Like, why can't they put the imaginary sponsors from the imaginary car onto the imaginary race suit? Surely that isn't breaching any licensing agreements. I thought Mr. Mustache was in control now, and we'd left the confines of the Eccleston era. Look. It pains me to make this video, but £60 a year, every year, for almost 10 years now, and this is what we have. Everywhere you look, there's these small issues that combine to make an unreliable, frustrating experience. And I'm a fan. I can't imagine someone who picks this game up out of interest. How do you expect to retain these players if their experience is getting punted out the first corner, unable to play with their friends and forced to wear a stupid looking race suit?